I want to give you guys some encouragement if you need it. And there's been several subscribers that have talked to me that there's some frustration with the industry right now. There's some frustration with sales. Things are kind of slow. And of course, a lot of guys are asking me because we're doing the software, like, where are you at? And I'm okay, but I'm not even as booked out as far as I'd like to be. But I wanted to tell you guys something that Greg still has to remind me of. And that is clear back in 2009, 10, 11, 12, when I was like door knocking heavy. He and I were keeping stats. Right? I get it would be stats, right, Greg?
Yeah. On everything we could, basically.
On everything we could. And I learned a really valuable lesson, you guys, that I want to instill in you guys. And I think it's still true to this day. So I'm just giving you guys a little bit of encouragement. This is just how it worked with me. But it's interesting. I think you and I were talking about this, Joshua, just this last week on the phone. So, oh no, it was somebody else. But anyway, you guys, I've learned there's little cues that I've learned when somebody calls me or when I meet somebody at a home show. There's certain words. And one of the words, when somebody walks up to me at a home show and I always start off with a question. I always say, like, what projects are you guys looking at doing this year? It never fails. If somebody says, well, we always got projects going on, that's a dead lead. Don't ask me why. I don't understand it. But never, ever, ever in a home show, when somebody says we've always got projects going on, have I ever set an appointment or sold a job to? There's just certain things that I've learned, right? Another one that I've always learned is when somebody calls me up and they're like, hey, we want to get, it's March 1st, right? And they're like, we're in a hurry. We want to get this job done as soon as possible. Never sold it. Never sold it. And what I've learned is a lot of the clients that call in early March, all through March, in the early part of April, are either tire kickers or they're looking for the cheapest bid. Now, if you've set your company up to be one of the cheaper out there, you're probably going to fill up your pipeline. But what Greg used to tell me is when we kept track of these stats, he would always tell me that May was my big sales month. May. And the reason that we came up with, and I'm not telling you guys, this is, this isn't factual. This isn't like, this is just what we came up with over years and years and years of studying this, because I was like a raging lunatic. I would freak out and Greg would be like, dude, calm down. May's coming, right? May's coming up. And then always in May, we would kill it with sales. And so kind of what I started thinking was, I felt like we needed to let all of the, back then I would say idiots, but all of the cheap guys to get their pipelines filled. And then once they got their pipelines filled, it was either that or the serious people. Okay, so there was two things that I think were going on. I'm starting to remember. One is I felt like some of the cheaper guys need to get their pipelines filled. They were desperate. And I decided I wasn't going to get desperate enough to drop my prices, because think about it, guys. If you drop your prices to get your pipeline filled, what you know now about production, it just screws you, right? I mean, if you try to get booked out for 3 months and you lowered your PMM by $200-300 a day, doesn't seem like a lot, but when you have 2-3 crews, that adds up and it's a massive amount of money. So you got to find that balance. The second thing that I have learned over the years is the serious people typically don't start calling until the weather is nice enough for them to do the work themselves. And right now, we don't have that. So I just wanted to give that to you guys as a little bit of encouragement. It helped me out a ton. So hopefully this year doesn't make me into a liar, but I'm always very patient, and it's always paid off. And I met a guy. There's a guy that I know here in town. He has a pretty good sized pool company, and I saw him at Costco one day, and we're sort of acquaintances, friends, and whenever we see each other, we'll say hi and catch up. And it was funny because I saw him at Costco. It was like late March, early April. And, we're always asking like, hey, how's work lining up? And he was like, oh man. And he literally told me that he had dropped his prices to fill up his pipeline. And it's like, I could see if you're a retail establishment, right? And you had to drop your prices a little bit to get people to come in, but drop your prices and you sell out 4 or 5 months. It's really killing you. So anyway, there's obviously always a balance. If you don't have work right now, then you might want to lower your prices, but I wouldn't do it to get booked out is what I guess I'm trying to say. I wouldn't lower my prices to try to get that 3-4 months booked out. Me personally, I don't relax unless I am a good 3 months out. If I'm not 3 months out, I'm not a fun person to be around. So that's me personally.
That's really encouraging to hear, though. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Kelly. Just yesterday I was working with one of the sales guys, Bobby, and he was pushing on me to try and get prices lower, and I kept pushing back on him. But what you just said, though, really helps me to have a better mindset as well of like, well, why should we be holding the line of where our prices are at? And so, yeah, no, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. And like I said, if you guys are, look at, you're better off lowering your prices a couple $100 a day or whatever you need to make sure that your crews are working, because, you got overhead to make, right? So, but what I'm saying is if you got a month or two booked out, you got to really be careful. We can't predict the future, but if your online presence is there and you're getting calls and you're getting leads, tell me, Josh, is that what's happening? Are you guys getting calls and getting leads and you're just not getting the jobs?
There's quite a few of those. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That we're still selling work, but it's just not a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I've put myself in your guys' shoes the last 3 weeks. I've started bidding smaller jobs, mostly to test out the software to see if I could sell the jobs at my pricing on the jobs on site, right? And I've lost a couple. Jeff, I lost that sprinkler system last week to somebody that did it cheaper. I didn't care, but it proved what I'm trying to tell you guys, that these guys are out there, they're balls to the walls, they got no work, and they're doing it as cheap as they can, and don't fall into that circle, I guess, or whatever. It's just,
it's not sustainable long term.
It's not.
No, it's not.
And it always go ahead, sir.
No, it always paid off for me, right, Greg? It was nerve-wracking.
So Kelly's not saying, that's what I was thinking when you were saying it. You're not saying this is easy. It was really hard at times, right? There was a lot of sleepless nights, but as a business owner, you put a lot on the line when you own a business. And if you're putting all that on the line and just barely surviving, you're better off to go get a job where you don't have so much on the line. And it's a balance, as Kelly said, but that was what Kelly and I always talked about. It because when he first started, it was very difficult. It was very stressful. And he spent a lot of sleepless nights. How am I going to get where I need to be? you kind of just have to trust the process and move forward.
You guys want me to share a story with you that literally changed my life forever?
Yeah.
Always.
A buddy of mine, he cold called me. I didn't know this guy from Adam, and he saw my truck. And back in the day, I had signs on my truck. I don't have any signage on my truck now, but he saw me at a coffee shop and cold called me. And he's an investment guy, right? So he takes care of your investments, and he asked me, hey, can I sit down with you? And I was like, you can sit down with me, but I'm happy with the person I have. Well, ultimately, I ended up switching. But when I switched, I told him that his sales process sucked. And he was a little bit offended, but I just said it sucked. And I said, I think you could improve. And so we started going to breakfast once a week, talking about sales. And the two of us became almost like brothers. And we started together just listening to Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy and comparing notes. And anyway, so that guy he exploded with me. We both exploded in business at the same time, literally from the books and stuff we were reading about sales. But I remember one morning we were having breakfast and I came in and it was like March. It was like March. And he goes, how you doing? And I was like, how the hell do you think I'm doing, dude? I got $1.5 million to sell. And I don't know how I'm going to do it. And he goes,
sorry about that. My cat turned my computer off.
You're fine. Anyway, to catch you up, he goes, how you doing? And I was like, how do you think I'm doing? At the time, I think it was 1.5, 1.8. I was like, I got $1.5 million worth of work that I got to sell. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Now, Greg, you're going to have to help me, or all you guys, because I'm not a football guy. But he asked me, he goes, Kelly, can I ask you a question? And I was like, sure. And he goes, do you know why the New England Patriots are in the Super Bowl so much? And I was a jerk because I hate football. I was like, I don't give a crap why they're in the Super Bowl. I hate football. And he goes, come on, play with me. Do you know why they're in the Super Bowl so much? And I was like, no, I don't know why. And he goes, because they have a process and they trust the process. And he goes, let me ask you a question. Did you sell last year out? Yeah. What about the year before? Yeah. Okay. You're going to sell this year out. You just got to trust your process. The process works. And I was like, okay. And literally from that day, I stopped worrying as much about selling out the year because I had a process. I knew how to sell. I knew how to go get prospects if I needed them. And then I still had to work, right? I still had to work really hard, but I was able to get rid of some of that worry, which really helps you become more effective when you're not worrying as much. Like I said, you gotta walk that line. If you're running out of work in 2 weeks and you got a couple bids out there and you need to lower your prices, by all means, lower your prices to keep your guys busy and keep your overhead going. But I sure the hell wouldn't do it to get booked out 3 or 4 months. That's just ridiculous. Okay. Today, I wanted to show you guys how to use the project budgets. I think we've got a pretty good handle on the templates, on the bidding. Everybody seems to have a understanding of that. As I've been doing demos to guys in the software, I don't demo the software anymore the way I've demoed it to you guys. What I do now is I focus more on proposals. I still talk about the Profit Genie because it's freaking amazing, right? But what really is the magical part of the software is once the contract is signed. And I haven't really gone over that a lot. I haven't really explained to you guys really what happens a little bit, but what's really cool about our software, and I know you guys know this, but I'm going to say it anyway, is once the client signs that contract, it automatically creates your project budgets, right? You guys know that, right?
Mhm.
Jeff?
Mhm.
Okay. So, and then once you do that change order, right, it automatically updates to the project budgets. I would tell you guys that starting right now, I would get your crews trained on how to use the project budget, because that's imperative for them to take good records so that when reporting comes out, you can actually get reporting. The reporting in the software is only going to be as good as your guys are out in the field at recording what they're ordering. Okay. So this project here, we're in the projects folder. Once a job gets sold, right over here, it tells you what, I'm assuming, Greg, help me out here, but this is, okay, we have to add these projects. Got it. So, okay. So right here,
So let's be clear. That today, that's things that are scheduled already. That's what's on the schedule for today and on the calendar. If you want to add a project to the calendar, you can click add project.
Okay. That's cool. And I told Greg we need to go over this because I'm not as well versed in it as well. So he's going to be interrupting probably quite a lot to help out and correct. But so right here, what we're going to do is we're going to click on this project budget. And this is what your guys are going to see out in the field. And it shows us, so this particular project says we've been on the job 1 day and we've got 15 days to complete it. Now, this number stays the same all the time. It's not counting down. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So it doesn't say, like, it just says how many days are budgeted.
It does go up if you add a change order. So if you add something, that change order gets added to it, but that tells you how many days you have for the full, whatever that full job is.
Okay.
So, I don't care if it's, I've had some guys tell me it's on Fridays. I've had some guys tell me they do this on Mondays. I think my guys do it on Mondays, but every Monday, my guys come in, they open up the app and they take a look at what they're doing and they plan out their week. And as they plan their week out, they're like, okay, I got to order material, right? So they know that they're going to be building the paver patio and they're going to be starting on Wednesday. So they would come in here and they would open up the paver patio and, oh, I've already done this one. I've already done this one. So I might have already, just a minute. Give me a second. Well, we haven't done that one. Let me see if Bob Smith has been done. Patio. Sweet. Okay. I've already done them all. So that's fun. So
just go ahead and it doesn't take too long. You can just delete them and start over.
Delete what?
Open up 5/8 basalt, the plus sign, and then delete both orders.
Oh, wow.
It's tedious, but most of them should only have, there you go. Most of them should only have one line item. That one just has two.
Oh, shoot.
We didn't prep.
I didn't prep. I apologize. I don't mean to waste your guys' time. Okay. There.
There's one. There you go.
Okay. So basically, you can record each individual item. So let's say you want, you only want to order basalt chip, right? So you can order, or your minus basalt, your 5/8 minus. So you can come in here and you can record, each thing all on its own. So you would just basically tell the software how much you want to order. And in this case, it's 14.9. So we'll just order the whole thing. and then you tell it who you're going to order it from. And then if there's different vendors that you order from, then you can click the different vendors. In this instance, we only have Interstate. And then you choose the delivery date. And so today's Thursday, right? So we're planning out for next week. So I'm going to say that I want this delivered on the 7th, and then I can hit save. And when I hit save, I'm not going to, but when I hit save, it will show up here in the supply and the caller in the supply call sheet. I'm going to go get rid of this. And my lawn. Okay, so does that make sense, Joshua?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, my guys would typically just order everything. So if you want to order everything for the pavers, you would just hit record all. And that's going to open everything up.
Okay.
And so then you'll click on 5/8 minus.
Hold on. You better off click, no, just select all materials.
Oh, there you go. Okay. That's better. So you would say select all materials, and then you can still adjust how much you want to order. So let's say you only want to order 10 yards because you're not sure if you need the whole 15, right? So you could change this to 10. Everything else you want to have, and then you're just going to put a delivery date, and we'll say that I'm going to have the basalt chips going to be delivered on the 7th. Now it makes everything be delivered on the 7th. Okay. But let's say you're like, no, I want all the paver stuff. I want that delivered on Wednesday, the 8th. So I'm going to go through and change all of this stuff to the 8th. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Let me just switch them. Now, diamond blade border cuts. If you need to order a blade, you can. Or you can just say, don't add a delivery date on that. And we can actually just unclick that too, if you wanted to, so it doesn't show up in the call sheet. This is everything you want. Everything you're clicking on here is going to show up in that call sheet, right? So, and you know, when we built this app, Kevin, my head guy, was like, dude, this is going to take the guys too long. And I was like, it's not, because they have to do this anyway. Whether you have a spreadsheet or you're using software, they have to, unless you're ordering for them. And even then you have to do it, right? Somebody has to look at what's been budgeted, and then they have to look at how much they want delivered. They have to decide who they're going to deliver it from, and they have to decide when they want to deliver it. And before our software, we had spreadsheets, and sometimes our jobs were so big, the guys would have to go through like 3 pages of spreadsheets that we had printed out, and they'd have to check off whatever they ordered, and they'd have to call Ryan at Gibson's, and they'd go through it, right? So I told him it's not any different. And now that we're using it, it's not different. So anyway, this is, I just need my paver sand. We're gonna have that delivered on Wednesday. And I don't need to order my diamond blade, obstacle cuts, and we'll hit save. And then let's say they want to order and have all their soil delivered on Monday so they can get that spread, right? So they'll come in and they'll say, okay, I'm going to record my soil. And they're going to say, I want that delivered on the 6th. And they can hit save. And then they have to look at this and be like, where else am I going to have soil, right? I'm not going to have soil here. I'm going to have soil with my lawn. So I'm going to order soil there too, right? So we'll go ahead and record that. And we'll have that delivered on Monday, and hit save.
Okay.
So now they can collapse everything, and now they have to go to the supplier call sheet, and now they can call up Gibson's and say to Ryan, hey, Ryan, I need to order 16 bags of interlocking paver sand. And he said, okay. And then they check it off because now they've ordered it, right? And then they're like, I need 2 yards of sand, coarse sand, or 2 bags. Okay, boom. And I need spikes. All right. And you just order and you check, order and check, order and check. And once they're all done and they've checked everything off, now they can click remove all checked items because they ordered it. And now the next time they make an order, they can print here. So you can print here and you can show removed items.
So let's just, if that show removed items, if you said, you're not sure what's going on, you're not sure how you ordered, whatever, you can just go ahead and click on it, Kelly. And it just brings it all back so you can see it. So it's never, we hide it, but it's always there if you want to bring it back and look what you did.
Okay.
So that's done. And now the next time they decide to make an order, this supplier call sheet is empty. And it's just going to show them what they've chosen to order on that Monday.
Okay.
Make sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now, this is something, and until reporting comes out, that you guys can start to really keep track of your projects, okay? Because right now, oh, this is also pretty cool, okay, guys? You can see right here that there's 14 yards budgeted. They ordered 10 and they still have 5, right? So if your guys need more gravel, they can hit record and it's going to show the rest of the gravel.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool. So they can say, yeah, you know what? I need easily 10. So they're going to order 10 yards. And then they'll make the delivery date for the 8th. Okay. So now that that's done, you can already see it, but now you come through and you're checking on the jobs, right? And you're just going through this and what you're doing is you're looking for red lines, right? And there's no red lines on the plans, but here there's a red line here. So, and a warning sign.
Okay.
So you can see that, holy crap, these guys went 5 yards over on gravel. And so, you can then open this up and it's going to tell them who ordered it, when they ordered it, when they had it delivered, and who from.
Okay.
And now you are going to call them and say, hey man, not mad, but I just noticed we went 5 yards over budget on gravel for the patio. What's going on? And they'll say like, either you screwed up, there wasn't enough gravel bid in, and now you got to tighten up your bidding, or they'll be like, oh, there was a stump in the patio area. We had to dig that out, and it took us 5 yards to fill it in. Sorry, I forgot to tell you about it. And now you can go in and you can create a change order for this project.
Yeah.
Now, I have had some things that have come up that we didn't, I'll just be honest with you, we didn't plan for. You can't plan for everything when you build software. So last week, Tyler, one of my project managers, called me up and what was he asking about, Greg?
Don't know.
I forgot what he was asking about. We're building a water feature. And I forgot to put 5/8 minus for build up for the falls in the water feature template. So I didn't bid any gravel in the falls, nor did I bid any soil. So he's like, dude, I got to order gravel. How do I record the gravel in the water feature? And I was like, well, that's a great question because there really isn't any way to do it. So the workaround right now, what I told him to do is I said, go in wherever we have gravel and just over order the gravel in the patio, and then you just put a note, right? And I just said, give me a note that says I ordered, 10 yards of gravel for the buildup for the water feature. And that way I've got these notes here and he has notes. So if he is like, I don't remember why I ordered that, but there was a reason, we can go back through, check out the notes.
Yeah, that's a good point. We can just I can see a simple way to just have an add materials for each section. And you add it, it won't show any cost. There's no labor. Well, it depends on how we want to associate it. We'll have to figure that out. We probably do want to add labor and cost to show you that you went over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, that is how you use the project budgets. We tried to make it as simple as we possibly could because we know that the guys are going to be out in the field doing this.
Yeah.
Now, eventually, you guys have to understand, when we started to build the software, especially in Spokane, 2 years ago, we weren't texting our orders to our vendors and we weren't emailing them. You agree with me? Yeah. Now, 2 years later, after we've launched, even Kevin is like, dude, we got to be able to we got to be able to like text these orders. We got to be able to email them. The guys don't want to make phone calls anymore. So that's
Doesn't want phone calls either. He wants
what's that?
Steven doesn't want phone calls either. He wants an email. It's easier for them. The sales guys at all of our places, it's just easier for them. It's easier for our guys. It'd be incredible if you could just push an email to vendor.
I agree. The problem with emailing for me sometimes is you haven't confirmed that somebody got it, and it drives me nuts.
Oh yeah, trust me.
But the phone call is a lot easier. If you email it to them and then call them and say, hey, I just sent you an email. That's a 20-second phone
That's
call.
a good.
Yeah.
You want me to do 2 things? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So just to let you, I'll give you guys an update. We're about halfway done with that process of allowing you to email. And what it will do is you've got all the different vendors in there and all the different dates. It will create an email for each vendor. Is what happens.
Okay.
It just splits it up by vendor and sends it out.
I like that practice though. It'd be great to just hit the button to email it off, but I like that practice, Greg, what you brought up of just following up with a phone call and let them know about the email itself.
Well, we all know how email works, right? I mean, email is there when you get to it.
Yeah.
And that's
Well, and a lot of times whenever I do email an order, I will always say at the end of the email, please email me back or text me to say that you got this order.
Absolutely.
And I typically, when I do that, I will get an email back. And I think that does 2 things. Number 1, it tells you that they read it. Number 2, because they responded, it locks it in their brain a little bit more to make sure that your order gets out because they responded. So I feel like it does 2 things.
All right. So can you guys see my phone screen?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's what you see when you first get in. I hit get started and shoot, I hadn't forgot to clock out. So let me clock out. So this is where you end up right here. So you end up, the first thing you see after you say get started, it goes to this screen and we have 2 clock ins. The first one is a global clock in, and that's meant to say, if you're going to pick up at the beginning of your day, if you're going to go pick up materials, if you show up at the shop, wherever you show up first, you go there, you clock in, and now you're getting paid. But you're not logged into you're not clocked into a project at this point. So what's happening, so let's clock in. And once you clock in, it takes you to all the active jobs that are in your calendar for that day. And you can see all the jobs. And then if it's not going to be one that's on the calendar, you can click over here and you can see all the jobs that you have available. But we'll just click on active jobs and then you click on the one that you're starting. So we'll click right here. Are you sure you want to start the timer? I don't know if I like this or not, but yeah, we're going to start.
I do. It's funny. You're from the corporate world. We live with landscapers. So I can already tell you can you stop this whole thing? Because this all just hit me. Instead of clock in, it should say like shop clock or something like that. It's got to be very self-explanatory for these guys, because we've got turnover. You get new guys coming into your business, and it really needs to be very self-explanatory, like shop clock in, right? Boom. And then I could see this, right, guys? You tell me if I'm wrong, but I could see the laborer being like, well, okay, now I got to go clock into the job. So I really think it does need to say, are you sure you want to clock in? You should not clock in until you're at the job.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that brings clarity to the guys.
Okay. Yeah. That's wording. That's easy to change, right? There's a couple things we're going to change. So one of them, so I'm not going to clock in yet, but if you click on the job, so this is, if you hit the play button, the timer starts, the second timer. If you just click right here, this is just a description of the job, their phone number, start date, the address. Now, right now, the address isn't clickable, but that's our next update that's coming in a couple of weeks. You'll be able to tap that address and it'll open up Google Maps and take you there. I think that's something that would be really nice to have.
Yeah.
What's that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So then, but that's it. So when you're ready to start the job, you click, it asks you, and we can change this wording. It's easy to change. You say, okay. And so now you've got two timers going. And I can show this to you on the back end. What's happening here is every time you clocked in, it's recording where you were on a map, right? We're locating your GPS coordinates. Everything everything is running now. If you leave an area, so if you're not in an area that has cell service, which happens once in a while, all this stuff keeps going and it keeps track of everything until you get back into a service area where it will upload all the information. But all this information is happening in real time, and it's uploading to the software in real time. So I didn't share everything. Let me show you. If you looked, let me share my other screen. I should have shared everything. Let's see. Is that answering your question, Joshua? Or
Yeah.
In concept,
so
pretty straightforward.
do you recommend that the guys just use their phone to clock in and out, or can we have it set where if the foreman had tablets, can the foreman clock themselves in and also clock their helper in?
Yeah. So as of now, you have to be logged into the software and then you clock in.
Okay.
We are going to change that, and I call it a kiosk system, but we can, whatever we want, but it's more like a traditional time clock. And I think what we're going to end up doing is you will go into the screen on the mobile app. It'll ask you for your PIN. You'll enter in your PIN, and that will identify you. And then you'll be able to clock in at that time, no matter what device you're on. Anybody's device, on a tablet, a common tablet that everybody uses, etc. So that's coming, not there yet.
The reason why we originally didn't do that is we wanted each person to clock in so we could tell you where they were when they clocked in, right? So with the kiosk system, I don't like it, but we're going to have to do it because one of the companies that signed up with us that's a larger company was like, dude, you can't do that. Do you know how many people that come to work for us? They're like, oh, dude, I lost my phone, or, my phone got shut off. And they're like, you got to have a kiosk system. And I was like, fine. But if your guys are sick and their buddy clocks them in, you got no way of it's harder to figure that out. So it really negates the GPS location. But we're losing that battle because we work in an industry where some of the people just aren't the highest of caliber. So
there's mitigating ways that we can deal with that in some ways. I think one of the quick ways we can do that is just as you clock in, you enter in your PIN and it takes your picture, right? So you can see who actually, that's
Incredible.
Yeah. It's just one of those things that you can do. It is what it is, right? So now I'm still clocked in. Everything's still running. So I just went into the timesheets area, so under reporting and then timesheets. And you can see I've done a lot of testing, but this is today right here, April 2nd. I clocked in at 4:20. I can click this button and you can see where I live right here.
420.
It shows you that. It says NA right now because I haven't clocked out yet. So it just says NA. But this is the global clock in, remember. So if I click down here, like this plus sign, so I clocked in twice, right? I clocked in once at 10:20, then clocked out at 10:21. I then clocked in the same job, but you could have multiple jobs, but I clocked in at 10:22 and it says NA, I have not clocked out yet. So this one I was clocked in for 19 seconds. I haven't clocked out here yet. So nothing, we don't have that information yet. But everything, these little pins right here tell you everything. That's where you actually physically were located when you did it. Anything can be edited. You can click this edit button right here. If they just forgot to clock out or something, you can go in here, you can fix it right here. And these are all editable. You can get rid of it. Like this one right here, I'd say, you know, don't even care. It was 19 seconds. What do we care? I'm just going to delete it. And so you delete it and it's gone. If for some reason you need to manually clock somebody in and out, you add a manual entry right up here, add manual entry. You click on it, you answer these questions, and it's going to require, like this down here, this manual entry reason, it requires you to say why you're doing a manual entry. But you've got everything in here. You select an employee, you select the crew, the date, and you just go through the whole thing and select a client. We'll say this Dave Maysbears. Here's all the jobs that are under that person. Enter your times. The last thing that we need to add, and we're going to do some cleanup on this, but in here you've got unpaid deductions. So this is like if you don't pay your guys for lunch, you can come over here and we're not going to do hours. We're just going to add 30 minutes. So this is the time you're going to take out for a lunch. You hit save, and now you've got it. So one of the questions. All right. Well, let's pause there. So that's at a very high level. And very quickly, that's the time reporting. Any questions you have on that? Then I want to ask you guys a couple questions about it.
I have no questions currently on that. We have not used it. It was just because we have another clock in and out method currently.
Okay. One of the questions I'd love to ask you guys is, do you guys pay for lunch, or do you guys have to clock out during that time?
It just depends. I mean, we're required by law, anybody that works an 8-hour day, they're supposed to take a 30-minute unpaid lunch. You can pay it or not, but every guy's different. Some of them clock out. One guy religiously clocks out for 30 minutes every day for lunch, and nobody else likes working with him because of it, because no one else wants to clock out. They just want to eat while they drive.
Yeah,
that's how the landscaping industry is. But what are the legalities of it? They need to be clocking out for lunch.
Yeah, and as of right now, I think what I'd like to do, see if I can share my screen again. And these are all, there's no real solutions. There's just trade-offs, you know, as it kind of we talked about. But I think where we're going with this, what I'm going to end up doing with this clocking in and out thing is have a little section down here. You guys can still see what I'm looking at right here?
Yes.
But just have a section right here that maybe it defaults to 30 minutes. You click the button, you check it, and that takes 30 minutes out for lunch. And then you can change that to 30 minutes. You can change it to an hour, whatever you need to change it to. If somebody needs to go to the doctor, they need to be out for some time. So you can easily just add those times when you're not on the clock. Yeah. But we can't, legally, we can't do anything to automate that process, because even if you say, no, we always have our guys clock out for 30 minutes for lunch. Legally, we can't get into that because there might be a day where they just don't. They forgot, and now we're taking 30 minutes away. So there's this weird sort of thing at play where I think we're going to try and make it easier, but they are going to actively have to click a button or do something to acknowledge that, yeah, we're taking 30 minutes from the time that we were clocked in.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we've tried just requiring guys to take a 30-minute lunch, and we take it out of their paycheck regardless. So, you know, it forces them to, you know, you're not getting paid for 30 minutes of your time to just sit down and eat. And it's
a weird one.
I don't know if that's legal or not, but we.
Well, I I can only give you my thoughts, Joshua, and that is, it's not something we would ever add into our software like that because there's too many issues with it, right? You can do it as a company, it's probably going to be fine, but you can't do it as a systemic way to handle it, right? It's because you could cost somebody 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Even if, I even talked to a couple people because we were going to put it in the settings and say, just set how much time do you give guys for their lunch? And you're just going to say you're going to clock them out. You can't even do that. You can't have a global setting that they can adjust. It's got to be the employee actively doing it in the system.
Okay.
Instead of a button, couldn't you just pause for lunch? That's how our other system that we use is the guy just working and just start lunch, stop lunch, and start break, stop break, because breaks are paid and lunches aren't.
Right. So, and that's something we can do, but you got, it's, I guess the point is that would be a simple thing to do. The issue for me is how many, do they forget? I assume they would forget a lot.
Always. So we'd still have to be able to go back and do a manual time entry like you've already showed, why are you removing this 30 minutes? For me, what I've learned is any alteration of time records have to be approved in writing by the employee anyways. So that's how I've always done it. So if I add 30 minutes, I just give them a sheet. So say, took 30 minutes off your lunch because you told me you forgot to clock out.
Okay.
It's complicated, polluted, but I want to cover my butt.
Yeah. And so this system right here that I'm looking at, this timesheets, this is restricted to owners and managers, the owner and manager roles. So only those two roles can see this. Nobody else can.
Okay.
So they're the only ones that could go in and edit or add a manual entry. And
What
maybe
about,
that's the way to do it, is just have a pause button.
Is your guys' intentions with this for us to be able to pull out information for payroll? Just pull out X. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's
in that
twofold.
Case,
But go ahead.
how hard would it be to get a timesheet approval for the employee to approve their own timesheet? Because then it would have a record of any notes, any changes. This is your clock in for every day. This is your time on job site. Just a simple approval. I think that would cover us as landscapers.
Oh, that's a good point. So right now you can export this data. You can export it into Excel, and you could do that. You could create a report. But yeah, we could come up with something that you could even send a report to everybody, or print it out, or whatever, show it to them.
You okay?
But the two purposes for this, the biggest one is payroll, right? You need to understand when people are getting paid, when they aren't getting paid. The second one, the reason we wanted them to clock into the project or the job,
So
that's for reporting.
Yeah.
You got to be able to say, how much time did we actually spend on this job?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's helpful to see. I'm planning on rolling this out next week. We got rolling out iPads to the foreman, and then the guys will be clocking into here instead of an estimate rocket.
okay, but that's how it works currently. There's just some little things that we've got to clean up, and we're going to try and get those cleaned up very quickly, very soon.
Kelly, are your guys clocking in and out of it already?
No, they're not. And the only reason
It's because we're landscapers and we're still in our ways.
no, and Greg,
I'll show you why.
has the job name things been figured out yet?
No, it's been done, but so it's been corrected already. We now have to upload it, and it's being approved by Apple and Google as we speak. So what's happening, the reason Kelly is hesitating like that is this right here. Let me show you this. This, when you're creating a proposal, you put in the customer name, and then you put in the job name, right? That's that unique thing. And for whatever reason, I don't know how, I missed it early on, but the job name got placed in here, not the customer name. And the job name, you could end up with a whole bunch of backyard renovations on here, which doesn't help anybody know what to clock into. And so right now you got to click on it and say, okay, this is the customer, here's the address. And then you can go from there. So that's why they're not at the moment. So you might want to hold off just a little bit, Joshua, until Apple and Google approve that update. It'll end up being what we've got right now is the the customer's name. We got rid of this project name altogether. So it's just the customer's name and then a clickable link that the address that's a clickable link. So you can click on that and open up the map.
Okay. Okay. Do you have an
I
idea?
love your guys' transparency for the record.
What's that, Jeff?
I love your guys' transparency.
I don't know how else to be, and neither does Kelly. It's, what are you going to say, right? These are just things.
This is why I said, listen, it's easy to be transparent because I'm sorry, our software is badass, period.
Yeah.
But it's not perfect. So
Absolutely.
there's shit we got to fix, and there's stuff that we're going to continually have to fix. Right. And I just, you guys, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your excitement about it. I appreciate you guys using it. And all we can do is grow and go forward. I still think it's the best software for the landscape construction industry. I know, Jeff, that you're having to use it for certain parts, but I just think hands down is the best.
Yeah.
And we didn't launch when people told us to, because we didn't feel like it was ready. I do feel like right now at this point, I practice what I preach. It's ready because we're using it.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Just a little things need to be fixed here and there.
And they're not difficult. The hard part with a mobile app is you can't just update it and everything's good, right? You got to go through the process. Every time you do an update, Apple and Google want to look at it, review it, et cetera. And that takes, sometimes it gets done in 10 days. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 weeks. So we're just waiting right now.
So do you think maybe we just hold off a couple weeks? Should be approved
Kelly
by
is,
then?
right. I probably would. If Kelly's not using it, for me, it doesn't seem like that big a deal, but for Kelly's team, they just didn't want to deal with it. So I would hold off if I were you.
Well, I didn't want to deal with it because here's the thing, Joshua. I used to work in the crew out in the field, and I don't want any friction in this software for my crews in the field. And the fact that they have to show up and then click on each job to figure out which one they're working on, to me, that's too much friction. And the last thing I need is for those guys to hate my software. So then they stop doing recording. They stop. To me, it is very simple. And when you're sitting in your office, it's like, why the hell? Give me a break. Just freaking, but because I lived out in the field, I knew what it was like. That's the only reason. I don't want to give them an excuse to not use not use the software. So for me, it's easier if they just do paper timesheets until we get this dialed in. Then I can say, all right, guys, we're using this. You don't have a choice. I got to have you test it, and they'll do it and they'll be happy. But I don't want to make them do it when it's not right.
Okay. Yeah. So currently they're just using paper timesheets then.
So stick with, my guys. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And I see that could be a problem as we're switching over to bid in elevation, and we're not bidding in estimate rocket anymore. At some point it'll be a problem of them clocking it, because they clock into jobs there as well, but jobs are not going to be being built there anymore.
Right.
So I don't know.
You could still do it. And like Greg said, it's done. It's just, we're waiting on approval from Apple and Google.
Okay.
So, the nice thing is, the hope you understood the global or shop clock in compared to the job site, because we're basically keeping track of your unbilled labor for you.
Yeah.
Okay. I will tell you guys, can I tell them about the new developments, Greg? And
yeah, I'll probably cut it out when I put it on YouTube, but go ahead.
Oh.
No, I always cut stuff out. We've had conversations in the past, right? It didn't seem appropriate to announce to everybody. I just cut it all out.
So we just hired 2 full-time developers in elevation. So our speed in making changes like this is going to be fast, and our development going forward is going to be faster than it has been over the last 2 years, because we've got 2 developers
working directly with us.
full time. They're not working on any other projects. We've had some really good conversations with them. They understand the software. We're excited. They're excited, and it should start to go exponentially faster. That being said, if you know anybody in the landscaping industry that needs software, let them know, because I got to get some more people signed up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. And maybe we can make some of those painting adjustments and start recruiting some painting companies as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, Brad, I don't know. And maybe you don't want to go there yet, Kelly. I don't know. But I think that this.
Yeah, it depends. Well, it depends. I need to get the software built and usable, and the time cards and all that stuff figured out. But I am meeting tomorrow with a pretty high-end concrete contractor. That's a little bit easier to use. But
yeah.
But the only, I mean, you guys are really getting a peek under the covers here, but what's going on, Joshua, with your stuff with the painting? It's not hard to create those templates that we talked about. That's something pretty easy, but we will have to, I don't want landscapers to see painting templates. I don't want, whatever. I want to be able to separate that. And so we're going to end up, I think what I've landed on is, can you guys still, yeah, you can still see my screen. Where I've landed is we're going to end up like this. And so we got a template library. We're going to create a drop down. Oh, let me just wait for this to open and I'll show it to you. So this is the template library. We're going to put a drop down, I think, up here. And that drop down will be, you select the industry that you want to see. So you can select landscaping. That'll be by default right now. You'll see all the landscaping templates. And then you'll have the coatings or painting. And you select that and you'll see all of the painting templates. And maybe we'll create some concrete templates. And so you'll be able to move through that and see what they are.
Okay.
Cool. That'll be fun.
But, that's something like you helped a lot, Joshua. If we can kind of nail down what we need for painting and you say, yeah, this is working, then we'll build it and we'll start organizing all of that stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Last week we talked about, are we done with this? 10:43. I don't have a whole bunch more time. So last week we talked about go high level.
I've not signed up yet, but I did start the process this morning and started watching my first couple of YouTube videos. And I have a friend here in Spokane, my video guy, Nick, he uses it and he's pretty comfortable with it too. So I'll get some feedback from him.
Cool. Joshua, did you get signed up?
Yeah. Yes. I'm all signed up and it's just started rolling it out to the guys this week. Getting them in the system.
To your sales guys?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Let me show you guys what I have. I didn't show it to you at all last week, right? A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
I've got maybe 10 minutes. I've got a meeting at 11. So if we need to, especially since Jeff's not signed.
Yeah, Jeff's not signed up. He's got a guy. Yeah, look, we can postpone it, man.
Okay.
It is
So just to be clear, you're going to be signing up for one that's going to allow us to access it through Elevation Advisor, or are we going to have to sign up for the $300 one a month for each of us? I was a little confused on the last week.
I don't think it's $300 a month, is it?
Well, there's a 99 or a 297, and then like $1,000 a month enterprise one.
So we're talking about signing up for the enterprise, which would allow us to then offer it to everybody.
Okay.
What comes with the enterprise, why we need to sign up for the enterprise so we can offer it to everybody. But in my mind, more importantly, it gives you all the access to change how it looks, make it more elevation like. We can get rid of some of the things that will probably just confuse people. We can simplify it for everybody. And then if you become a power user, we can open up whatever you want. But if Joshua, I don't know, when you look at it, there's a lot there, right? It's a bit overwhelming when you first take a look at it. There's a lot.
There is. And actually a question with that, we could, maybe think through this for next week, when we have a conversation, but is there a way that when the status changes in elevation of the client, where they're at, if they're in the draft mode or if they've accepted the proposal, is there a way you can tie that to a pipeline in Go High Level where it automatically moves that car depending on what stage they're in?
Yeah, that's when we talk about. So we talked last week about syncing clients, right? So you move the client to sold, it moves that into elevation. The next phase of this whole process, and this is not just something that's going to happen immediately, but the whole process is just exactly what you're talking about. So as it moves into the different stages on the proposal, right, it moves it in Go High Level, but Go High Level does a whole bunch, right? So you even get to, and I was just digging into this earlier this week, spending a few minutes on it. When it comes to invoicing, we're going to relaunch invoicing soon, but we could tie invoicing. So when you send an invoice, it has a date on that invoice, and Go High Level could be in communication with elevation at the same time and say, oh, we're past the date you said you wanted that payment. Go High Level can be responsible for going back to that customer and saying, hey, we still need that invoice. The invoice is overdue. Can you make a payment? There's a lot of things that Go High Level offers that allows you to communicate in a more effective way. And it comes with all the stuff that you want when you're talking to customers. You got opt-outs and all these other things you have to do legally when you're sending stuff. So the answer to your question, Joshua, is absolutely that we're going to do all of that stuff, but we're going to take it one step at a time.
Okay.
We're going to start with customers, and we're going to continue to move through and do all those things that you're talking about. It only makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
That sounds great. Well, then we could dig into that more next week.
Okay.
But Go High Level on the enterprise version is, and I guess all of it, it's literally a programming language for marketing.
Absolutely.
It's completely customizable. You can do almost anything with it. It's got a whole programming language behind it and APIs. So it's very flexible. We'll be able to do a lot with it once we get there. And as we talked about last week, there's more there than we could ever develop in 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, if you're up for it, especially Greg, you seem to understand it pretty well. It'd be great to have some of the, and maybe this would be future meetings where we kind of maybe just dive into Go High Level and understand better how to use it more effectively.
Well, I think we're all learning at this point. But right. I think we can probably find a couple people that can help us. And maybe that would be a good thing to do. Some people that can really help us walk through. It depends on how it is literally as powerful as you want it to be. But I think for most of us, we just need it to do relatively simple things, but they become very powerful because it's just happening in the background all the time. Nurturing your leads, sending out a note, all these different things that it can do just. And when you put on auto mode, right? So all the automations that you can do, et cetera. We'll be exploring it, but I know there's one of the best things about Go High Level is they're completely opened on the back end to allowing you, we call it white labeling. We can make it look like elevation. We can remove features if we don't think they're necessary and it just confuses people. And we can integrate very deeply with elevation.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
I think that's it.
Well,
thanks for walking through that today.
Yes, I appreciate it. Everything.
Yeah. Hang in there with.
Well, I do have a quick question. Is there a way to make it so that multiple notifications go out when a client accepts? Josh sold 2 more projects, and I didn't even know. Because he's the sales rep, so he's the only one that got a notification.
Yeah, I'll take a look.
Sweet.
Yeah, so we can notify.
He should have just told me,
but. Yeah, let me take a look at that. So right now it's designed to send to one person. There's no reason why we can't add more, and we've talked about that.
Yeah, just a semicolon and a second email, probably.
Yeah. We're revamping the entire email system. We're about, I don't know, halfway through that right now. So when you send the email, when you send a proposal, it gives you that little bit of text that you can add in.
Yeah.
Before you send it, we're revamping all of that. So what you end up with is you can change the subject line if you want. You can change everything about that email right
Josh,
there.
Wondering about that. He'll be
Yeah.
excited.
And more importantly, we need a record of what you sent to the client as well. So we'll be dealing with that as well. So you can see exactly what was sent.
I love it.
Okay.
You guys might be listening in these meetings.
Okay. So it's needed. It is definitely needed.
Awesome. Well,
Okay, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, wait, before we go,
We're trying to get off the call.
tell me what do you guys, is there anything you guys really want to see or talk about next week? It helps me to talk about this now. That way I can plan better. Is there anything you guys want to go over? I know, Jeff, you want to go over retaining walls. If we can get it completely figured out, I will. Anything you guys are struggling with? You want me to go and just do another bid so you guys can see another bid that's going? Like, I don't know. It's up to you guys.
Well, this is a question that I have that I think going over retaining walls that Jeff wants to review. That'd be great. I have a question though with when you're adjusting some of your when you're on the markup page, and after you put your bid together, a lot of the numbers come out in like low red, and I don't know why that's happening. So then I have to hit the recycle button to get it up to the correct PMM. And so if I don't know, maybe can dig in to understand better understand that multiplier factor. Why do they come out in low red? And how do we at least get it in the ballpark? Or is that because the bid itself is just too low, or is it just a small amount? And then you have to adjust it so that it hits your PMM number, or?
We'd have to look at your situation, but I'll just tell you the way it works right now. If you want, as soon as you look at the markup page, we lock those markups in, because what we don't want to do is change your markup once you've manually adjusted it. So as soon as you look at the markup page, it sort of locks in and it doesn't recalculate anymore. So when you look at the markup page, then you go back to the proposal, back to the takeoffs, and you make some changes. When you come back, it's not going to reset anything. Some things are going to be, if you change information, it'll be red. And that's because we're trying to strike this balance of, we want to calculate it for you, but we only do it once on a proposal. After that, it's on you, because we don't want anything to get screwed up. If you make an adjustment, we don't want to change that.
But Greg, I'll have to pay more attention to it, Joshua, but I feel like there's been a couple of times where I create a bid, I go to the markup page, and it just didn't mark everything up the way it was supposed to, and everything's red.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to take a look.
That's what he's talking about. And I will try to remember to shoot a video. I have 3 bids I'm doing today, so I will try to remember to shoot a video. Oh, one thing I want to go over. This is really important. I'm going to say it really quick. When you guys, this has been something that's really been ticking Joey off, and he didn't understand it. So sorry if you have to go, but this needs to be on this video. Okay. When you create a new proposal, all right, we go in, we'll create a proposal. This is really, really important. I'm just going to pick this guy back. Okay. 2-man crew. I'm going to get this through really quick, guys, because it's really important. And it might be something that we have to fix. Okay. Watch. If I build this bid, and I don't even know what screen to call this. I wish I had a name for it. But this screen only shows up when you go to create your proposal the first time. Okay. So if I go through and I'm going to add my soil, I'm going to add my lawn, I'm going to add my removal. Okay. Then you get a phone call, and then somebody calls you up and they're like, dude, I need you to go check on blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Okay.
So you go like now you leave and you go to projects. And you go and you look at whatever project you need to. And then now you have to go back and finish that bid.
You didn't save
What
anything.
you've done is not saved. It's gone. Okay. So I don't know if this is something on our end where we need to make sure that we have a save button or it just saves it. But if you build this as of right now, you have to go to the next stage or your crap isn't going to be saved. Now, if I go next,
Now it's, yeah, that's the trigger that saves it. And that's what's going
now
on.
it's saved.
Yeah.
So if, you know, and our bids are pretty, Joey was pretty pissed, man, because he built this bid out and then he had to leave and he came back and he was like, dude, all my information was gone. And I'm like, right, you have to go. Once you're here, you're safe.
We already figured that out the hard way as well.
Okay.
So,
It's,
All right.
I think it just needs to automatically save.
Yeah.
But Greg and I'll have conversations about it. You guys think about it. I kind of like the fact that it doesn't save it, so I can go back and come back in and start off fresh, whatever. I don't know if it's a big deal, but anyway, for now, if you leave, it's gone.
okay.
What would you prefer, Joshua? Would you prefer it to be saved? It makes sense to save it, but then you kind of have to refigure out where you were also. So I don't know.
That's true. And I don't know how, you know, I don't think I put enough bids together yet to really get a feel for it. But as of right now, I'm just instructing the guys when they're on that page just to make sure we add mobilization first. If there's like some, you know, things that you know for sure, but don't spend a lot of time there. Just go to the next stage, the next step, and then you can finish putting whatever else you need in there. I don't know. That's, at least it's saved then, and you're not.
Theoretically, it's just such a small little strip, you know, just patch it in there where you can. Anywhere where it's a big area, definitely.
The reason I think it's important for you, Joshua, because you said something that's intriguing to me. You said, don't spend a bunch of time here. I do spend time in that page.
Okay.
Quite a bit, because it's right there, right?
Yeah, it's a little, the focus is more so on building all the line items you're going to need, or all the areas you're going to need in the bid.
Right. And this is what I tell Joey. I was like, dude, spend some time there, but get it done. I think that's why I don't like it saving, because it's really important, right? This is where you're bidding this out. And it's like everything that you do is staring at you in the face.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for you guys to know that Greg and I put a lot of time into this page, because I wanted it here so that you had a less chance of forgetting something. And so like every bid, I'm like, okay, I open everything up. I spend some time in here. And I think, because you're thinking about how you want to build this bid, you got to really think about, okay, I had a conversation with the client. How do I want to do this? Were they definitely wanting basalt chip, or is this such a new bid that I can give them both, right? Okay, I'm going to give them both. So I'm going to do soil, rock, and bark. Then I move over here and I think about this pretty hard. Am I redoing all the lawn area? Okay, I can give them, you know, whatever. I can give them options, but it's important to spend some time here so that you can really build this thing out.
That was the intention.
I like that mindset. I think that if time is going to be spent here, it would be really good if it could save if you did need to leave. Or otherwise, if you have to leave, you just have to say, okay, I'm done with this page. Let me hit next so it saves, and then come back and finish building the rest of it in the next page. Or what if you have the ability to, when you hit next, you know, it's part of your pages where you go from one to the next, and then you can just go back to this page.
I asked that from the beginning. No, there's no way to come back to this page, which.
Well, it's not true. There's no way. It's not designed to go back. Yeah, it's not really designed that way. I don't know if you guys ever seen it. When you open up a proposal, you see this screen sometimes very quickly. Mm-hmm. And what it's doing is saying, do we already have sections in this proposal or not? If there's already sections, It's evaluating it quickly and then moving you to the next screen,
Hmm.
and not showing you this. So, I mean, and maybe that is the way that we can do it. We just save it all the time. We'll think it through. We could allow it. It would take a little bit of development, not much, to be able to see it.
I need to get going, but we'll see you guys next week. And Kelly, if we can, maybe I saw you called me back just about the T&M. Just if you have time to go over the T&M and that portion of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Might be a good one for next week. How to do a time and materials.
We do T&M all the time. We just do it in a change order. And so if it's a bid, then we'll go ahead and do a bid on a template. And if it's something where Kevin kept track of time, he'll just put in a labor item and he'll put in the items and then he'll just put in how much labor it took.
I'd love to see that.
So we can either do a call or we can talk about that next week, but that's super easy. I can show you guys how to do it.
All right.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys.
All right,
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.